Hello, my name is Taylor Brown. I am a graduate student at George Mason University, pursuing my master's in film and video studies. You're now watching the documentary of what I've learned from my coaching course.
Coaching, to me, is trying to find the balance between helping and teaching and discipline and all the things that go into being a leader.
And if you're inspiring your players to be the best that they can be, it's your job to make sure that your players are not just successful on the court or on the field, they're successful off the court and off the field as well.
So in our class, we've learned different ways to motivate our players in different situations, and there's all kinds of different ways that you can motivate athletes and different approaches.
When you're trying to motivate your players as a coach, it's very important to meet the stakeholders' needs.
So in some cases, you use positive reinforcement because it's kind of rewards based, and the players will know that if they do this, that they're going to get this sort of reward. So it's motivating them to keep pushing.
As a coach, you have to know how to set your players up to be successful and to achieve their goals. Not just their goals, but the team goals as well.
You have negative, which, sounds so bad, but it's not. It's just trying to, again, keep everybody accountable for themselves and being a responsible student athlete and doing what you need to do. And that's
esteem, like self-esteem. You have to make your players feel like they're wanted and that you need them to be there. That's very important, because if they don't have good self-esteem while they're on the team, it's going to affect the team, and it's going to affect their relationship with their teammates and with the coach as well, with your relationship with the player.
And you have to somehow find a way to balance it so that you're not always punishing them and you're not always rewarding them. And trying to find that balance can be difficult, but once you do find that balance, then you can really create success for the team and for the whole program. So for leadership in our class, we've learned different ways to be a leader and different ways that leadership can be used to really create success for the team.
Another key thing to know as a coach in order to present good leadership is to know how to proceed. Wins or losses, you may not win every game of the season, and you may lose some games that you feel like your team should have won. But you have to know how to proceed and how to encourage and continue to coach your team to proceed, to move on to the next game.
One of the things that we learned is goal setting, because when the goal is clear and everybody knows what is expected, then you can hold people accountable for what they're supposed to do and what their role on the team is.
Leadership as a coach, you have to understand that it's very important to set goals. Specifically, you need to know how to set SMART goals. Now, what are SMART goals? Well, I'm going to break it down for you.
There's also a component of team building, because if your team has good chemistry, then it'll create success. And team building is a lot of different things. It's creating bonds between the players. It's about creating bonds between the players and the coaches. It's about having good chemistry between the staff itself. And it's about creating sort of like a family atmosphere so that everybody cares about each other, but everybody is working together for a common goal. And
S stands for specific, M stands for measurement, A stands for achievable, R stands for relevant, realistic, and T stands for time-based, tangible. So those are SMART goals. And it's important as a coach that you have to be able to set SMART goals for your team, for your organization, and for yourself in order to be a great leader and coach.
Another thing, which I think is really important, is role modeling, because as a coach, you are a leader and you are sort of like an older voice of reason in this situation, especially in college athletics, and setting the right tone and acting by example and leading by example is really important, because if the team sees you acting a certain way, they're going to think, oh, that's how it's supposed to be. So if you're professional, if you're on time, if you're early, if you're doing the right thing all the time, they'll follow suit, because that's the example that's set.
One of the things that we learned in class is trait theory. Now, trait theory basically describes the different characteristics or the personalities of a player or a person. And one of the two types that we learned in our class is introverts and extroverts.
And the first one is introverts, and those are, the more quiet ones. Maybe they don't talk as much in practice, but when it comes down to it, and they're in the game setting, they're doing what needs to be done. And it's not in a loud way, it's not in a overly obnoxious way. They're here to do business. They come in, they come out, and that's just one type. And the other one is extroverts, and those are the ones who are a little bit louder, and they might be more of a leader on the team, and they might be a little bit more animated when a great thing happens on the court or a great thing happens on the field. And they're the ones who can grab everyone's attention. And not that there's anything wrong with either of the two, but they're very different. And so as a coach, you have to understand that there might be some players who you have to just approach in a more personal setting, maybe just one-on-one. Whereas the other one, you can approach them in a group of people because they're confident enough to convey whatever needs to be said in front of other people. And so understanding that is really important, because once you know what you have with all your players, then they'll feel comfortable with you.
Thank you for watching this documentary. I hope you guys learned as much as I did from this course. What it takes to be a coach, what comes with it, and if you have a desire to be a coach or to have any kind of leadership when it comes to sports, please rewatch this, and thank you again for watching and learning as much as we have learned from this course.